Hello and welcome to the Evercade Retreat. Today I'm talking about the new Blaze teaser for the Evercade and SNK, I suppose, partnership. So SNK is coming to Evercade in 2025, which I think is big news, great for the arcade line because, well, quite simply, there is an awful lot of SNK arcade games. For a while I thought that without getting another big publisher like, Capcom, SNK, Konami, Sega, or, Midway, something like that, I've always felt that without getting another one, the arcade line has a very limited shelf life. Well, not shelf life as such, but there's only so much more they can do without getting the big boys involved because there's only so many arcade games. It's the smallest pool of the three lines of Evercade carts that they can draw upon. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of console games and even more home computer games, but the arcade lineup is a bit more limited. These games were, they were a bigger deal. They were released on more expensive hardware and, I suppose more specific needs as well. As a result, there were fewer smaller publishers who were easier to get hold of, like on the console markets. So, like I said, getting SNK is a huge deal for the arcade line, and of course people are speculating, does it mean there'll be an SNK or Neo Geo Alpha, and could it be locked hardware only? I mean, that is a possibility. My thinking is that they wouldn't have announced it now if it was going to be locked to an Alpha. I'd imagine they would unveil it with saying, yeah, we've got more Alphas coming and they are SNK or something. And it's an Evercade announcement, not a Hyper Megatech one, so I don't think it's going to be locked to Super Pockets. So yeah, I'm very much hoping it's going to be cartridge collections, and that does seem likely. But again, at this point, until something is officially announced, we don't know. Personally, I've never owned a Neo Geo or anything. I've not really played a huge amount of Neo Geo games, and to be perfectly honest, most of the ones I have played, I played the Super Nintendo and Mega Drive ports of some of the games from back in the day, which obviously weren't as good as the arcade originals. So for me, it's a really good announcement because it means there's going to be plenty of new, potentially very good games which I haven't played, and obviously some I have. I have played some Metal Slug. I played some Samurai Showdown and a bunch of others, but not a huge amount. But also, it's not just SNK and Neo Geo games. It potentially opens up a number of the later Data East games were developed on Neo Geo boards or using Neo Geo hardware. So they haven't been an option, as I understand it. To do those, it would have required a Neo Geo BIOS. Well, obviously, as part of this deal, I'm assuming that means that they'll have access to one which they can use for Evercade. So those games suddenly become an option, I suppose. And I'm sure there are other companies that did the similar thing, not just Data East. On top of that, there are quite a few games, like aftermarket games, which have been ported to the Neo Geo. I believe the game Battle Axe by the developers of Xeno Crisis, I'm pretty sure that is on the Neo Geo. And there's a almost Shinobi style Rolling Thunder type game, which I can't remember the name of right now. That is on Dreamcast and I think Neo Geo. And of course there are Neo Geo specific aftermarket games. I can't think of the names of them right now as I record this audio, so when I put the video together I will put footage of them along with it. So overall I think it's a fantastic announcement. Again, we don't know much. Well, we know next to nothing really, but it bodes well, and it'll be interesting to see what it does bring to the table. I'm just reading the email that Blaze have sent out. And it says, in partnership with SNK, Evercade will release officially licensed products from the history of Neo Geo video gaming system throughout 2025 and 2026. The way I'd read that does suggest hardware or things, but it doesn't mean there wouldn't be carts. So, I think my original thinking still stands, but we shall see. To be honest, a Neo Geo Super Pocket does seem like a shoe-in. It seems like an obvious thing for them to do. I mean, it would be a massive shame if there aren't SNK and Neo Geo cartridge collections, and given the sheer volume of games that they have, I think it's unlikely we won't see some. Anyway, I think that covers all my thoughts on the matter, so that's it for today, and I'll see you in the next video.